Hi there, action fans. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in my next selection in an action franchise, I'm going to go with Lethal Weapon. The series stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and all the films were directed by none other than Richard Donner, who did the Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. So, what we have here is a great buddy cop film with excellent banter, phenomenal action. It was great. I love this series. They kind of the theme of getting older, getting too old for this shit starts off in the first one. It keeps going till the fourth one where they actually are older and they are getting too old for this shit in a sense, right? So it's really good. I enjoyed it. If I have to rank them, I'll go this way first. Let's do Lethal Weapon 4, which came out in 1998. Basically, now Riggs is realizing he's older and is not in his prime anymore, which kind of mimics Murtaugh's scenario or arc in the first film. And what happens in this film, they kind of stumble across a human trafficking ring, and the which is kind of headed by Wa Sing Koo, played by none other than Jet Li. That the Jet Li fight scene with them is arguably one of the greatest fight scenes in the series. But you kind of see they're running out of steam now. It's a cash cow, and we've seen this all before. Even Leo wants, Leo gets is just strictly comic relief whenever we need it. But it's still a good entry. It's not the greatest entry, but it deals more about the family dynamic now as opposed to the action dynamic. So, we got, you know, uh, Martin Riggs's love interest, Lorna Cole, played by Rennie Russo, is pregnant, and Danny Glover's daughter Rianne is pregnant, and he doesn't know that it's the Chris Rock character who's the father. It's more the dynamic of that, how they're getting older. Life, their kids are now having kids, and they're not the young bucks anymore. It's nice, it's interesting, but I think it's kind of tired the series by this point, or maybe they should have got another director. No offense to Richard Donner at all, but I think maybe he was bored. I think he was bored with it, but that's me. Um, Lethal Weapon 3 is the next one. It came out in 1992. It's basically they're stumbling upon a weapons trafficking ring run by a couple of dirty cops. The villains are not that intriguing. It's still good. Like I said, now Pesci's character Leo Getz is really just strictly like a sideshow comic. He was really good, and they kind of pushed him to like strictly like low key comic relief, and I thought that was a mistake. Great track by Sting and Eric Clapton is probably me. That's probably the high point of that movie, unfortunately. The great thing about this series, the interesting about thing about this series, is that the first one is the darkest one of the bunch. It starts off with a nude prostitute jumping off a balcony. Riggs is going to kill himself in his camper. It's very interesting how they took a lot of chances with the first one. Especially the first one. You want to make sure it's accessible to the masses, and they really went. This is like the darkest entry of the bunch, but it's a great buddy cop film. How they're polar opposites. Riggs and Murtaugh, and you really believe that Gibson's character is insane. He's trying to get over you know the trauma of him being in the Vietnam War, the death of his wife. He really comes like the part where he has the gun in his mouth, and really you believe it for a second, like, wow, he is like suicidal. You really think this is possible. Um, Gary Busey's in here as Joshua, great villain in here. I thought he was pretty good, but not as good as the first entry in this thing. And this is the first time I think in any series that the second one is better. The interplay is stronger, the action is stronger, the laughs are bigger. You have a bunch of drug traffickers from South Africa who basically they can't be touched because of diplomatic immunity. Um, so it's great. I thought it was, like I said, it's one of the first sequels that's better than the first. It builds off the first one, and it's just phenomenal to see. Watch the first two, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how good these are. It's a great buddy cop series. I like them all, but I mean the first two are just magic. It's like when they said the second one, the magic is back as the catchphrase. It's true. They're Glover and Gibson are magic together. Maybe the best buddy cop film ever. I don't know. The first two are just strictly incredible. Balls to the wall action. Uh, Wordplay between the two is phenomenal. Gibson playing the mad guy is believable. I don't know. It's just great. You have to see this once in your life. Watch this series. I highly recommend this as an action franchise. Do yourself a favor. I'll post one of the scenes down below somewhere. And you let me know what you think. Have you heard of this? You're going to see it. If they do make a next, there's still rumor that Gibson is going to direct the fifth one. I don't know where they can go with it, but I'm curious if they do. But you let me know what you think of this series. Have you heard of it? Do you like it? Leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. This is Steven from the Roundtable with one of my favorite action franchises, A Lethal Weapon.